Hello everyone. Okay, so while people are still joining, let us wait for 2 minutes and then we'll begin. Okay, so hello everyone. While people are still joining, let me introduce you all to the speakers for the Outreachy session. So, myself, Maitri Vakasia, and I'm the logistics head at GDSC-TCET. And today with me, I have Asjad Khan, who is currently a fourth year student. He's doing a dual degree in electronics and telecommunication. He's also doing an internship under Eclipse Adoption, also a MLH follow under Solana Labs. So during the session, you folks are free to take the session snaps and put it on your handles and tag dsc.tct, and you can invite your friends to the session for as it's a live stream, so they can get updated about the outreachy internship offers. So without any delay, I will request Asjad to begin with the session. Over to you, Asjad.
Thank you, Maitri, for the very warm welcome. So, hello everyone. I'm pretty much excited to be a speaker in today's session that is regarding the Outreachy internship. So, I am pretty much pumped up to kick off the session right away. So, taking the charge. So, I would be beginning like what Outreachy is. And then, like once I give up the introduction for this particular program, we can go up with the timeline and like how the entire system goes, the entire timeline goes along with the time, and like we can all I can also come up with like what are the do's and don'ts in the application process, and we'll go. So first things first, so like basically what is Outreachy? So Outreachy, as we know, is one of the biggest open source programs that is open to the student community all over the world. So the main uh, purpose of this internship program is, first of all, they offer you remote internships. Secondly, this program is basically structured for those students who consider themselves underrepresented in the technical sector. So like what do I mean by being underrepresented? Because there are a lot of things that students feel they don't get the ample amount of opportunities in the technical industry. Basically they don't have the resources, or like not even the resources, they have a lot of factors which make them excluded from the technical sector. So there can be a lot of contributing factors to it. Naming a few, like it can be your age, it can be your race, it can be your gender, it can be your sexual orientation, and a lot of things. So to cover things up, to give such students and these folks a chance, Outreachy has come up with this program to offer internships, remote internships under this program to such students. So that's the main motive of this program. So if I this was the basic idea of this program. So basically, if I talk about the all the process of this, how there it goes. So this program is conducted twice in a year. First, the internship runs in the May to August of the month of the year, and the second starts from December to February. So basically, we can't apply for both of them. They have their conditions. For the students that live in the northern hemisphere, we are eligible for the first round, first phase. For the first phase, I meant the internship that comes in May to August. So as we, the students of India, are eligible for that phase. So to be a part of that phase, you have to first, as usual, come up with the application. So the application phase opens in the month of February, early February. So you have to be you have to keep up the track for it, like, because you just have to go to their website and ping the notifications up. So whenever they start the application process, so you are the ones who know it first. When so you have to fill up the application. There are a lot of essay questions. I think you might be having some questions regarding the essay questions. We can cover up them later after explaining the timeline. So once your application gets approved, you are open to a contribution phase. The initial application results come up after a month. So once you are accepted, your contribution phase opens for a month. You have to choose your organization and start contributing to it, and you have to record them up. So that the mentors of those particular organizations keep a track, like how are you progressing, how do you work, how do you interact with the community, and they keep up the track. So once you are done with the contribution phase that lasts over a month, you you make up a proposal, brief proposal, not a big one, brief proposal, like what are you going to do during the internship in that particular month, that time of the particular month. So you make a proposal and the mentors take a look, and once the results when it's the time, they declare the results. So you are, if you are accepted, so you get to work with the one of the greatest biggest minds in the tech industry. It's a lovely exposure. So that's how it goes. So it was a summarized, like compact timeline display of the internship. So yeah, so that's what I was I was expecting to tell. So yeah.
Uh, yes, I guess we can tell them about more about how it goes, how to enroll in this particular internship period. So you may proceed with screen sharing.
Yes. So I'll share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
So basically, the website almost contains everything regarding you need to know the this program. So as basic, the very first thing is the what is Outreachy. We can go up with that. And when it comes to the eligibility, we can take a look at that, like what's the ratio of the program. Like as we know, the outreach interns have been 92% women, 4% transgender, and 64 people of color. More, one thing that I wanted to tell, a lot of folks have this thing that Outreachy is exclusively for girls. So I guess I'm the example that it's not. So even the boys are eligible for it. You just need to be good enough. You just have to show your talent, and if you're good enough, you're definitely gonna get it. So there are some Outreachy eligibility rules. The basic rule is obviously like any other open source programs. You have to be 18 years, above 18 years, and you should be available for at least 30 hours a week during the internship. One thing is, as Outreachy and Google Summer of Code run simultaneously. Some of the orgs are common in both of them. A particular org is also in Google Summer of Code and also in Outreachy. So, like if you have been a Google Summer of Code intern in the past, you that's the biggest glitch. If you have been a Google Summer of Code intern in the past, so you cannot apply for the Outreachy. So that's the thing. So these are the conditions that you can go through, like how am I eligible and how am I not. Like as I mentioned, for the northern hemisphere, what would be the timeline, and So that was the eligibility thing. And there's a lot of things like you might have the questions, ki, am I experienced enough? Do I have to be a programmer to apply? A lot of people like who are new into open source might have these questions, ki, am I eligible? Am I good enough? So you can go through it. They have explained everything clearly there. The yearly schedule is here, like how when the call for mentoring communities opens, the initial application, the closing of the application, when does the contribution period starts. So the all the details have been given. Like now you have this initial application when you put up your initial application key, why should you be considered for the Outreachy program. They have the uh, things mentioned, that what would you need to fill, and how they have all the steps. Like if you like prior to filling up the application form, you can go through it so that you can have a rough idea like what happens, like what are the main things that you need to explain in the essay questions so that your application stands out from the rest. So these they have also shared the tips. So, like you can talk about the instances where you feel that you were underrepresented in the technical community. So that's it. Like they have also shared the resources to prepare for the contribution period. They have shared the resources like how what particular organizations use which technologies. So a lot of things to explore. So yes, so that's it. Like the if it the screen goes on, so that's it.
Um, yeah, Esther, that was great. You can tell about your experience. You have also interned with Outreachy program.
Yeah.
So,
So start. It was my very first internship, and it was a great experience to put it in a nutshell. So it was a big thing to explore for me since it was my very first internship. It was a great experience because in this program, as it is an international program, so you interact with a lot of folks all around the world. You learn a lot of new stuff. You learn a lot of like time management. You learn to handle pressure because during the internships, when the mentors give you a particular task, you might feel ki, you need some extra time, but you have the situation that you have to deliver a particular task in some time. So you learn to handle a lot of pressure. So the most important thing that I learned in that phase was to deal with imposter syndrome. So because a lot of folks like who get into the technical industry for the very first time, or uh, so they always feel ki maybe we are not good enough. You always have this things in your mind, you are not good enough. Maybe others who are working with you are more skilled and are better than you, but it never is the case. You just I've my mentors, they were constantly in touch with me. They motivated me ki it's all right, you can take your time, you can learn things and then you can apply. So it was a splendid experience. It was pretty smooth the entire 3 months that I was there.
I guess Esther just disconnected. Um, we'll wait for him to join.
Sorry, I had a Wi-Fi issue. So During the entire 3 months, I explored a lot of technologies, learned a lot of new technologies, and I noticed myself that I was continuously growing because I was interacting with a lot of folks internationally, be it my communication skills, be it my technical skills, be it my other social skills like time management, handling pressure. I was finding myself that I'm growing. So it was a splendid experience.
Okay, well said, Asjad. So, could you please brief us about what was the duration of the internship and how you were able to tackle the rounds, like contributing to, like finding the right repositories or on your project for contributing it. So, if you can tell us.
Yeah. So this is the question that I always face, like when people ask about these internship programs. So as I mentioned, the internship is when the actual internship starts. So it's 3 months of it takes 3 months. So for the very first of all, like you, as I mentioned, you have a contribution phase. So once your initial application gets accepted, you move on to a contribution phase that is a month, that is of the duration of 1 month. So during that 1 month, you choose the organizations, because like once your application gets accepted, they provide you a list of organizations that are taking part into that program. So you browse. So the main thing there is, you as they mentioned ki what particular tech stacks they would be using. So you need to see them, like suppose you have an expertise with React, so you would be looking for the orgs that use React as their primary technology, and like other related to it, like be it JavaScript and all. So that's how you start things. That's the very first step that you take in order to be a successful intern. So once you find a particular org that suits you, you click into it and you join the community channel. Like some of them would be having their community channel on Gitter, some would be having on Slack, Zulip, it depends. So there you introduce yourself to the mentors, and mentors would be, they'll take, obviously because of the time zone factor, they will take their time and they'll reply to you, they'll get back to you as soon as possible. So basically, they give you the starting issues. First of all, they would be giving you some good beginner friendly issues so that you can get yourself comfortable with the project, set it up locally on your computer, and that's how it goes. So when most of the projects are on GitHub only, so like you need to be familiar with GitHub and other tools. So like once you are getting yourself started, you solve issues, you interact with the mentors. The key is to be visible in the community. So like you are solving issues and you continuously in touch with the mentors. uh, while making pull requests and solving issues, you keep a track of it, because in order to be eligible for the final consideration, you need to have at least one issue solved. So you on the website, you have that portal where you put your solved issues. So all of this happens in the entire month. So once your contribution phase gets over, as I mentioned, you then make a proposal, like during the internship, what are you going to do and how would be your plan of action. So once, if you were pretty impressive, you were pretty visible during the entire month to the mentor, and you have a good proposal, so like chances are high that you would be the one selected for this internship.
Pretty well. So if somebody is not from computer department branch or someone who is not yet into open source, so how will you recommend him or her to find a good first issues and work and get started basically.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. So my case was also similar to it, since I wasn't of the computer science background. I was in electronics and communication engineering. So I used to feel it that way. Maybe I might not have enough skills to be a part of this program, but as they say, like all of the organizations don't aren't exclusively for coding. There are organizations that deal with designing or documentations or technical writing. Some non-technical ones operate too there. So you can go for it, and just to get yourself started, you can first of all put your you can pick up any of the tech stacks to get yourself started, because it's not always key. There would be organizations that would be dealing with complex technologies. There are orgs that use just C++ as well. So these are some starting things. Like when students get into programming, they start themselves with a particular language. So some basic non-technical orgs are there as well. So but the important thing would be to get yourself familiar with version control system. You should be knowing a lot of, you should be having some basic understanding of how Git and GitHub works. So that's the crucial thing that you need to have, and you would be good to go.
Fine. Talking about what the community has to offer to like open source, like if we are contributing to a project, so what are we getting in return? Is it in the stipend form or some sponsorship based goodies or stuff are there?
Okay, so once you like if you get selected in the internship, the stipend, as we know, is huge. Is It's 7,000 US dollars. So during my time, it was 6,000 US dollars, but now they have incremented to this amount, 7,000. So they give you in your stipend in two phases, $3,500 US dollars each. So if you have passed the evaluation phase, because they keep a track of your progress, if you are making enough progress, so then only you would be eligible to get paid. So that's the biggest incentive of this internship. But during the that's only when you get selected for it. During If you don't get selected into it, but you have tried your best, you put your best efforts in the contribution phase. So it doesn't give you any physical stuff, but it just gives you a lot of exposure. So that's the biggest thing that you would be getting from this. So like if you make contributions to an open source project, even though you are not particularly into an internship, it still adds value to your resume. You can always put it up in your resume, like whatever you particular big pull request that you made. You can add your experience in that, and the experience section of your resume, that in the particular organization you contributed. So that's the extra things that you get from it. So yeah.
Perfect. So, what are the domains specifically if we talk about? Is it mainly related to some software, some specific focused, or is it diversified, open for all?
The internship is open for everyone. You just need to be 18 years and older, and you should be enrolled in a college. It's just key you should have during the internship, you should be available for 30 hours during the week. So that's
Okay, and can someone do multiple internships simultaneously, like applying your outreach program also and doing somewhere in NGO or anywhere? So, is
yeah.
it possible?
Huh. Yeah, it's possible. It's just because, like, while applying to an to this internship, you give your timeline as well, like during which part of the day you would be available. So it's you are more than welcome to do the other internship as well, but it shouldn't be Google Summer of Code. So like simultaneously, like you said, ki if a person is working somewhere else, so you are more than welcome to do so. But the thing is, you should be available to them, like during the time slots that you provided during your application. That's the key. So you're more than welcome to do multiple internships during your outreach internship.
Perfect. So, if we talk about you, you had your experience in Outreachy. So, can you explain in detail what were your domain and which were your tech stacks that you used while getting this
Huh.
internship successfully done?
Yes. So during my internship, as as I got in my initial application approved, as I moved on to the contribution phase, during that time I was familiar with Python and Django. So I was browsing the list of orgs that were using that particular stack. So I found one of the orgs in which eventually I interned with. So got into that org and started up with the after introducing myself with the mentors. They just showed me the initial point, like to start things from. So they in the starting they gave me basic issues like that had to do with the documentation, the slightly changes in the loop. So my primary tech stack during the contribution phase was Python. So I was solving various issues in Python and all. So once I got into the internship, in the starting phase, I worked mostly on Python and Django, and a bit on MongoDB. As I progressed further, I moved on to React. So during that time I wasn't familiar much with React. So I asked the mentors, yeah, that my primary tech stack hasn't been React, so I would need some time to get familiar with it. So they gave me some time. I explored the documentation, followed various resources that are available on the internet, and then I started when I learned, I got myself comfortable with it. They passed on me issues that were dealing with React. So that's it. So then I moved on to React.
Um, Perfect. So is there is something called essay round, I guess. So
Mhm.
what is it?
Yes. So basically, during your initial application, you have some essays to answer. So basically, in those essays, the Outreachy asks you ki, why do you feel ki you are underrepresented in the technical field? So you have to basically think like how you feel it that way, and you have to put it up in words. So uh, everyone, it can be subjective. Some would be feeling it's because of their gender that they feel they are underrepresented. Some would feel it's because of their race, it's because of their religion, it's because of their culture. Everyone would be having their own issues, like that would make you think that you are not getting enough opportunities or you are facing a systemic bias. So you have to put it up. It would be great like if you are pretty much you're explaining, you have to be very clear. You have to put it up in a storied way, like you have to be very clear like how do you feel it, so that the in charges who are reading, they get it, they get you. You have to make sure that they get you, like after reading your essays. So you have to explain like this is the such and so are the reasons, and that's how I feel it that way. You have to be clear about it. And so yeah, that's the thing that should be considered during your essays.
Uh, Perfect. So if how will I know if I'm underrepresented in tech industry and I'm not able to find perfect project for me to work on?
Like, how would you know that you are underrepresented?
Underrepresented. Yes.
Huh. So I guess for me, like when I was interacting with my friends, I can tell from their experience, like when they filled up their uh, applications, and myself as well. So as I mentioned, it can be subjective for you. Like it can be the case, since you are a woman, so you won't be getting, you would feel it because now there are a lot of other also diversity hiring programs. But there's also a thing you are a woman, so you won't be getting much opportunities. In my case it was a religion, and for some others it can be like other factors of their culture differences, of their race. So everyone has their own story. So I think you should introspected look into it, like how would you feel underrepresented, how you would face a biasness when you would enter into a technical industry. So everyone has their own reasons. So I think that's how it goes. So you should be looking into it, like how would you feel it that way, and that's the thing that you have to put in your applications. It may be caste, it can be religion, as I said, so it can be a lot of things. It can be a place that you stay. So it's up to you. And so yes.
Um, yes, perfect. Talking about this is something called as a remote internship, right? So, how does this work?
Yes, as it's a remote internship, so you can do the task and you can intern with them right from the comfort of your home. You don't have to like specifically move for them like to a particular office. All you need to is just to stay at home, and it depends like where in a particular time zone you're working with. So in my case, since it's not any hard and fast rule that you need to be available in particular hours. It's pretty flexible. In my case, it was pretty flexible. So since it was remote, I used to work whenever I felt like. I didn't have any pressure. Ki I have to work in such office hours. I should be putting myself limited to some time. All every other because once in a week we used to interact and meet up with the mentors just to track our progress and the new tasks that we would be assigned. So it was flexible. So that's the biggest advantage of being this internship remote.
Cool. So, moving on to chat questions that we have. So, we have a question in chat: how to make your application or proposal stand out?
Yes, application, as I mentioned, you have to be as descriptive as you can. Like, how would you be underrepresented? How would you be facing a systemic bias? That's a pretty that's the thing that you need to look. You can read a lot of resources on the internet, follow the resources that are available, and it's all on you. Like, how would you feel, and how would you convert it into words? So you have to limit yourself within 200 words, and you should be clear. So that's how like all depends on you, how well you can write your essays, and that would be the tiebreaker with your initial application. And the proposal stand out, as far as it goes for the proposal. If you would be working hard enough, you are consistent in during the contribution phase, you are in touch with your mentors. So like if you have done enough during the contribution phase, it would be your proposal would automatically stand out, because since you would it would have been a month for you to work into that particular org. You would have been completely familiar with how the things would go, like once I would be interning, so it will automatically stand out.
Perfect. So, there is another question. What will be your advice to a novice programmer who wants to get into open source?
Yes. So when I got into open source, I was also a pretty a newbie in programming. I was also not having enough ideas. So the thing is, for me, like on to get into open source, the very first thing that you should be knowing is how familiar how familiar you are with Git, using Git and GitHub. So that's the very first thing that you should be knowing. To get things started, you can, I guess, there is a repository named First Contributions on GitHub. First Contributions. So they've explained clearly like how would you making your first pull request, how would you be making cloning up the repository, making changes, committing changes, and pushing it up to a repository. So that's the very basic flow of getting yourself familiarized with GitHub. So once you're done with it, uh, you need to be familiar with some tech stacks. Like if you want to get into technical organizations, if I talk about them, so if you're familiar with some language, that's good, or a particular tech stack like for that is used for development. Example I should give React. So if you're familiar with this, so you can go to the example that I give. You can go to the a Google Summer of Code website where they have listed all the orgs that took part. So you can look into the orgs, scroll that page, and look for the orgs that use the tech stack that you're familiar with. Okay, so once you see them, like suppose you are looking for orgs that use React, so you would be browsing for the ones that use React. So if you find one, you can go click on that, and you can join their community channels. Like if you're I'm talking about beginners, like who are it's for the very first time for them to get into open source. So you can join their community channels, like some of them, as I mentioned earlier, might be having it on Slack, Zulip, etc., etc. Once you join this, you have to introduce yourself to the mentors there. Like, my name is so and so. I have this tech stacks in my arsenal. So I would love to contribute to your organizations. Where should I start from? So the mentors would definitely respond to the newcomers, and they provide you resources like such and so are the documentations of our organization, and that's how you can clone and run the software locally. And these are the basic issues available on GitHub, very basic issues. They always give you a very basic issues. So like it's just editing slide, making slight improvements to the code, changing the loop, etc., like very basic. So that's how you get familiar, that's how you get yourself started. Like once you've installed their program locally, solving basic issues, and you'll see yourself automatically getting comfortable and with the org, and you'll uh, can start exploring it all by your own, and you'll see you are just rising. So that's how things start. That's how I feel. So
Perfect. So there is again a repeated question. How does remote internships work? So
uh, so basic so as I mentioned, remote internships is just you sit at your home, and you just do the task that you just have to interact with them in the online mode. You just meet them up during the Google Meets and Zoom Meets, and you just chat with them to give up the progress reports that you've made. So that's how you work during the remote internships.
okay. So the next question asks, can you please revise the schedule for the upcoming summer period internship?
Yes. So the period internship would be beginning from the end of for the from the first week of February. From the first week of
You can
February,
screen
the
share. Yeah.
yes, for sure, for sure. Is my screen visible?
Uh, no, no, not really. I'm not able to see. Yes, now it's visible.
Uh, it's okay.
Yeah.
So for the mid-year internships, that would be summers for us. The initial applications would be opening from early February. The applications, the deadline would be as expected the end of that month. Like once your initial applications were, if it gets approved, you would be getting the mail that your initial applications have been approved, and you're moving on to the contribution period. It opens at mid-March, and as I explained, it's a month long. So the last date would probably be in mid-April. April. So by the mid of this month, you would be making the proposals and sending them up to the mentors after making ample amount of contributions. So once you're done with that, then you can just wait, and you can keep on making contributions. You can once your contribution period closes, you can still make contributions in order to show the mentors like how dedicated you are to the community. It always gives a good impression. So the interns are announced during during May, mid-May. They would be announcing, and your internship starts like 2 to 3 days after you are announced as an intern. So that's when the internship starts, and you would be working with them for the next 3 months, and your internships would be ending by the end of August. So yeah, it's usually starting 20s of August. So that's when the internship ends, and that's how the Outreachy summer phase concludes. So yes.
Perfect. There is another question. What are some examples of tasks in outreachy internships?
So, okay, the example task, like it can be anything. It depends on the org that you are working with. Like a basic task that I would be mentioning it up would be using React. You need to update a front end aspect of a particular website. You can, like, example is like you can, they would ask you to create a button, and once you click on it, you can add a particular functionality to it. Like on once you click, it should do so and so. So the example task is that. So that's it.
Perfect. So there was some question like, can only no code contribution work, or do we need to have either a development related or a program based contribution to be made compulsorily?
See, it depends on the organization that are taking part. So once your initial application gets approved, you get access to the uh, companies that are taking part into the program, and you have to explore. Some of the orgs are exclusively into programming. Some organizations might not be. Some might be having some non-technical work as well, be it marketing, be it documentation, be it technical writing. So it depends on the particular org that is taking part. So you just have to look into it. You have to scroll the organizations that are taking part. So yes, so you just have to see, look into it. Of course, there are orgs that are not into exclusively coding. They're always there.
All right. So there is another question. Do they take interview round like MLH fellowship?
No, they don't take the interviews. They just track you and your progress during the contribution period. That's the most important phase of that internship. You just, because during the contribution period, you just prove how good and why should you be accepted during the internship. And during the contribution period, you contribute and you make a good proposal. If you stand out from the rest, the mentors will select you. There is not any interview during for this.
Okay, cool. So while interning, if I want to try some other tax stacks, so will I be allowed for it?
Of course, of course. It's You just need to convey these things to your mentor. Suppose you are working on a particular task, and you think that it's not in your tech stack, or that phase also can also come if you want to change. If you want, since internships are meant for exploring and learning a lot of new stuffs as well, you can put this up to your mentor. You can notify this to your mentor. You can put it up, like, suppose you have done 4 to 5 tasks all in Python, and you or Django, and you want to switch things up. You can put it up to your mentor, and he'll definitely allow. I also, in the starting phase, I was working on Django and Python, and during my mid internship, I switched to React. So it was a big jump. I first learned it. They provided me some time. I learned it, and then I applied it. So that's, you're more than welcome to do it.
Cool. So there is a compiled question. Is a strong GitHub profile necessary, like for a proof of work, or does prior community experience help?
Uh, it won't be a case in this internship, because like how worthy you are for the internship is seen during the contribution period. So it's not necessary that you have a strong GitHub profile. You just need to prove your worth during the contribution period. So if you are performing well during that period, it's obvious that your GitHub profile is amazing. You are amazing in how you use Git and GitHub. So, and when it comes to the proof of work, that's when you give a proof, like how well you're working, and all of these things are covered in the contribution phase itself. So you don't need all these things priorly.
Perfect. So uh, I guess there. will be still a questions. So we'll be waiting for a few more minutes. If somebody have any doubts, they can write it over the chat. Okay, it seems there are no further questions. So we'll be ending this live stream. So thank you, Asjad, for briefing us on Outreachy, the entire program, and I hope all the questions are answered and folks are excited for joining this Outreachy that will be commencing from February. So we'll be waiting for application openings. So thank you again for taking this session, and we'll be winding this session.
Okay, it was my pleasure talking to you guys.
Thank you.
All the
Yeah.
best.
See you.